Hey, you wonderful people. We are a few days away from winter solstice. What a year, what an incredible year it's been. It's been a huge year, a year of so much change, of so much growth and so much transformation. We've just passed the last full moon of the year, but also the last full moon of the decade. You know, how amazing is that? And what a punchy exit to this year. It's been incredible, there's been so much change, there has been so much transformation, and that was a real belter this last full moon, and it is the last full moon of the year and decade, and here we are merging and walking very, not, I was going to say very slowly, but I'm not so sure that it is, and I wouldn't say it's walking very gently either towards 2020. Some of my dear friends, we've been sharing, discussing, the feeling that 220 is beginning to shape and show and beginning to brew up, and it is brew up, all those ingredients are coming together. But here is a really, really heartfelt story. And I think that, it really shows us that there are times where the innate absolutely intervenes and kind of works around us in more ways than we know. And for me, this is a beautiful Christmas story, a Yule story. Winter solstice is really what resonates with me. The beginnings of a whole new cycle of time, and the light begins to build again. That really relates and resonates with me. But however you celebrate it, I think we're celebrating. Or maybe it's remembering to celebrate what's really, really important. And I think that this experience really drives that home for me at this time, and it's a beautiful thing. So here it is, really heartfelt, and it weaves together a lot of thought, and it probably will raise a lot of questions as well. So yesterday morning, I woke up, and if you have a look, see this eye? I woke up. And believe me, this is 1,000 times better than it was yesterday morning. I woke up yesterday morning and I still can't see very well out of this eye, completely loss of vision, and the whole of my eye was just filled, blood vessels, just completely bloodshot and raw red. And I could feel it as I opened my eye. My eye was hurting, and I went over to the mirror, looked into the mirror, and I was quite shocked. But thankfully, and I don't know even if that's the right word, but I think it is actually at some level, thankfully, I knew what it was. It's something that I experienced around about 7.5 years ago. It's what is known as iritis. Now, some of you know my personal story of the AS Ankylosing Spondylitis that I work with, live with, that I was diagnosed with in my early 20s, and it put me completely on a different path. There was me having these plans, and life had other plans. And, I learned to embrace it. I learned to, rather than fight it, I befriended it, I learnt from it, I made good friends with it, because I think quite often we can fight against their challenges, or we're like, but actually, for me, over that journey, I learnt to understand it, I learnt to befriend it, I made best friends with it, because in a way, otherwise you're working against yourself, and it's what is this showing me, what is this teaching me, what is it showing or trying to heal inside of me. Very powerful. So when I looked in the mirror, I knew exactly what I was dealing with. I would have been quite scared otherwise, to be honest with you, but I knew what it was. It was iritis. So first call, pick up the phone, rung the doctor, and it was like, really sorry, we are stretched to the limit, which is what's going on here in the UK. There's so much of that happening, so many kind of organisations are just stretched to breaking point. So can't see you until January. understand it's an emergency, then probably you need to go out to A&E. Then I kind of knew, I knew, and in a way, in a bizarre kind of way, my little one had scheduled an eye testing. He's just got a slight kind of delay in his eye when he turns. His other eye just kind of, and it's quite normal for children. But we had him referred in the summer, and the examination then come up yesterday morning, and I thought, actually, do you know what? I felt I'm going to be in the best hands. So we turn up, we're booking, me, his mum, and himself. We're booking, we're going in, and she's parking. I've got the little one with me, and the doctor comes out the door. He looks at us both and says, "I'm here to see the little guy, but I think I need to see you first. Have you got ankylosing spondylitis?" "Yes." "You've got iritis." "I will treat you. We will start treatment immediately." Started treatment immediately. That absolutely was the turn and change within the whole situation, because it's by hours that damage can be done to that eye. And so started treatment immediately, put an eye drop in there, which is a dilator, which actually dilates the eye. It restricts the blood flow, and it starts to take the eye out of spasm, because what you're talking about is that it's in spasm, it's inflamed, which is part of the AS, is inflammation. So it is, it's always checking in, am I looking after myself? Am I been pushing too hard? What's going on? And I think, we do. And, if we look towards winter solstice, the word solstice means to stand still, and I think there's been such a urge of energy this last year and the last few months, that has been immense. But yet at the same time, I was exactly where I needed to be for this to be taken care of. Put the drops in straight away, my eyesight started to recover. He took care of me. He arranged for me to have a follow-up appointment tomorrow. He wrote out a prescription. He put all the meds on one script, and they made sure I was really okay, as well as looking at the little guy, and that's all good. We go back in 6 months to check, and it's all fine. And he just went above and beyond. Now, here's the polarized contrast to this. Is he really did go above and beyond. He was like, what, patient first, everything else can follow, and him and his team really took care of us. He didn't need to do that. He could have referred me, and I could have gone through the system, and it would have taken twice as long. But it was like patient first. And it kind of, afterwards I reflected, and I was talking to a friend and went, well, that's no different to how you treat people and the way that you work. And I was like, thank you for that. But here's the polarized polarity. So I go off, and we as a family go, and later in that afternoon, I go hunt out a pharmacy in our it's not a small town. In our town, we went round 9 different pharmacies. Didn't have it in stock, low stock, not in stock. Go to the next. In the end, I've got a pharmacy to ring round all the pharmacies, save me going round them all. And it turns out, no, possibly one. So I go to that one. No, I haven't. I have to go back to the other. Long-winded story, sorry. Go back to the other, and by then, there's a big queue. It's in a supermarket, really, really busy. People's trolleys are just overflowing with stuff. People have got 2 trolleys, and you can feel the tension and everybody sighing and tutting because they're in a queue, and there's this just kind of cloud sitting above all that. And there's me standing there. By this time, I'm now on my own. I'm standing there in agony. My eye is seeping, running. It's bloodshot red, and I'm in pain standing up. and not one person offered to put me in front of the queue. Not one person asked if I was okay. Um, and it took a while, 20 minutes, 25 minutes to get to the front of the queue. A lady took care of me. She's going to order some of it, fast tracked. It's going to be picked up later today. But I remember kind of looking and thinking, that's the polarized opposite. That's the absolute opposite of what I was experiencing a few hours beforehand. That people actually knew, because people again were looking down at the ground. And I could have spoke up. I could have absolutely just spoke up and said, you know what, is it okay? And I kind of didn't. And in reflection, I was just too tired to, so I just accepted that and waited in line. But I can't remember standing there thinking, if I observed that in someone else, there's no way I'm going to let them suffer. I would have moved them to the front of the queue. But it's just showing you, and I thought to myself, where where is that Christmas spirit? Where is that Christmas spirit, And actually, it's polarized because it's usually there in the experience I've had, and some of the other experiences I've had this last week, where I had this most incredible experience of someone gifting me some amazing gifts, and it's just that kind of contrast that I think that we are dealing with in the world, is that those people looking down, they know it, but they don't want to lose their place. There is that sense of holding on very tightly, but we are moving away from me, my, and I to a we, and the we was experienced earlier on in the day. So on that note, we were going to hold a kind of workshop about leadership for the modern age, what it means to be of service. And I think actually that doctor is exactly a prime example. To be of service, to take leadership, to grab hold of the situation, take charge, was leading rather than being following. And I think that's the thing is, we need to move away from following and we need to lead. We will pick that up. It's now going to be in January. I need to allow this to rest and heal. That's making a decision. That's taking leadership. I'm going to be putting eye drops in every 2 hours. Normally would be round the clock, but this time I don't have to do it during the night. Last time round you had to set an alarm clock, and every 30 minutes last time round. Some of my friends will remember that. But this time round it's every 2 hours during my waking day. So we will reschedule that. I will look at the diary and it will be for early January. But I think what I want to leave you with is that there are some incredible people in the world, and also the innate quite often does move us to be where we need to be at certain times. And there's other times in our lives where it don't feel like that. Last night when I sat there and reflected on the day, I thought to myself, actually, that's incredible what's just happened. I was at the right time, at the right place, in front of the right person. Why that day of all days? It would have been a very different story if I had to try and get myself through that system. The only other way of moving that very fast would be, an ambulance, and that's kind of the severity of the situation. But yet at the same time there was intervention, and everything has kind of aligned itself. So that's incredible. That is a miracle, and it's a Christmas miracle. And the doctor is saying to me, in a few weeks' time, I'm actually retiring. These are my last few weeks of my service career. His words, and I'm going to be retiring. He said, and it just feels nice to be able to finish it on a note of doing something that is a bit extraordinary and making a huge difference. I think that's what it's all about in life, is how are we leaving those around us? Are we leaving everybody we come into contact with in a better place? And it's not about following, it is about leading. Anyway, there's my thoughts. I'm going to leave you with a rune, and then we are going to gently wrap this up. And as I say, I will schedule for some point in January, but wishing you all the brightest of solstices. You know, something really nice to do on solstice is actually light a candle and just pause, still reflect on what's been, and reflect on what you're wanting to co-create as you move forward. It's very simple. Very simple. You know, someone else was telling me on 12 days they've been lighting a candle every evening, a bigger candle, a larger candle, or more candles, and then they eventually end up with 12. I've got a couple of runes that I've pulled that is for the time ahead. Okay, so I've got a feeling what this rune here is flow. Okay, is moving with the flow of things, which is very much how it felt yesterday. Moving with the flow of things. Okay, so as we go forwards, it's looking at what's appearing, what's showing up, why is that appearing, why is it showing up. You know, if something's not flowing, why is that not? But I believe that we're moving into the flow. Okay, we're moving in flow. You know, there's this purging that's going on, that's kind of removing those things that are not allowing what we're designed to be. You know, not allowing that flow. It's being stripped back. Okay, the flow. And then we've got this other rune here. I'm looking at my rune chart. Okay, I'm trying to find this one here. Okay, perfect. Strength, leadership. Okay, so it's kind of, where are you right now? You know, as you reflect on solstice, where are you? Are you taking leadership in your life? What do I need to do differently? How am I doing it? Is it working for me? Where do I want to be? How do I get there? Lots of questions to kind of look at, but strength, leadership and flow. Incredible punchy runes. I'll see you all very, very, very soon. I'll see you the other side of solstice. I will put another date in the next few hours or the next day, and it's been a real honour. This last year has been a real honour. It's been huge. Take care, look after yourselves, look after each other. That's the thing that's really, really struck a chord with me, is the appreciation for the simple things in life. Deep appreciation. Much gratitude, much love, guys.